everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the very first season of the Blossom Podcast, wherein I will be discussing everything that you need to know about me and the things that I talk about in my everyday life. But before we even get into our topic for our very first episode, I will briefly tell you the name of the first season of the Blossom Podcast, which I aptly titled The Diary of an Only Child, wherein its main premise over the course of 20 episodes is that I will be discussing you all my life experiences when I was a kid and all the current situations that I'm facing as a teenager. And most importantly, I will also be discussing the headspace / thought processes of mine regarding things that I have a difficulty to think about / handle during my developmental years, especially with the likes of emotional maturity and the traumatic experiences of mine, especially in my friendship with others and during my childhood. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into our topic for today, which I call it Only Childs Are Emotional Punching Bags. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, you're boxing everyone who is an only child and isolating them from people who have siblings, trying to make it look like that having a brother or a sister is a good thing. No, what I'm trying to tell here is that it focuses how every time there is always a disagreement between me and my parents, I tend to be the one trying to suck it up, be calm, and not show any emotion, while simultaneously I am breaking down on the inside as if I'm a literal punching bag. You know what I mean? Like, I try my best to not psych myself out and just be stoic and not show any emotion, because I know full well that getting the brunt of frustration from the adults around you is something that I don't want to, or nor I want to wish on anyone to experience. But it is just frustrating to think about how I couldn't say anything because I know full well that I'm just making excuses for myself. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is that the focus of this episode is not to box everyone who is an only child, but I'm just describing how I have a tendency to break down on the inside, knowing full well that I have the right to speak up. But I grew up in a household wherein it's much better to be silent and cooling our heads off rather than screaming our heads off and fight. But let me emphasize it a bit more. But first, I'll tell you about my childhood experience regarding this sort of subject. Well, one instance of my childhood is that when I was a kid back then, as much as I don't want to say it, but my parents had disagreements with one another to the extent that I got involved. And it went to a point that me and my mom went all the way to our province at Pasig to meet my maternal aunt at her house, wherein I also met my maternal cousins, sila Ate Raisa at si Kuya Hapon. And at first, it felt harmless enough because I was genuinely having fun with my cousins and I was just navigating our province with my mom, and I was helping her doing errands, like going to the grocery store, or shall we say palengke, wherein we buy food for us to able to cook up our lunch for that day and the rest of our time there. And it went to also at a point wherein I was confused about what is going on, and that there are certain points wherein I asked my mom where my dad was, and sometimes she answers my dad was at work, so he can't be with us at Pasig at the moment. But there are also times wherein my mom was silent and asked me not to speak about it. Genuinely, I was concerned and very worried, but of course, as a kid, I much rather not speak about it too much, otherwise I might upset my mom. And after a couple of days and even weeks, my mom called my dad and he told my mom that he was gonna be at Pasig, wherein he met us at my maternal aunt's house, and my parents have talked for a couple of days, and after that my parents are both okay and have rekindled the relationship. And after our stay at my aunt's house, we went all the way back to Valenzuela and back to our house, and after that day nothing else happened after that. Honestly, that was one of the only times where my mom and my dad were really mad at each other, and my mom grabbed me and we both left our house to cool off. And it truly shocked me that I even have to ask my mom about what happened that time, because I honestly don't remember a thing about it. And also, when I was Googling about why, when there's a certain memory in our heads that we vividly remember, but like the full of it is not like connecting to our minds. You know what I mean? Like, I get that I sounded confusing right here, but when I was like searching at Google, like when we forget certain things because it really affected us, basically it told us that you had trauma. And to be honest with you, I was traumatized at the time because I never saw my mom and my dad both separated each other. No, like not in like marital status. Like, what I meant is like my mom left our house because my dad and my mom had a disagreement with each other. And to be honest with you, that was like the one and only time that happened. The rest, whenever my parents have a fight or like a disagreement, they always separate each other, and instead of speaking about it, they just let each other cool their heads off, and my parents are both okay. And I feel like that is also applied to me. And this is where I will emphasize my point earlier regarding me being a emotional punching bag. Right now, in my teenage years, it's been a rocky road for me, as there are several things that I did in my life that I consider, in my opinion, the lowest points. But I will be telling you those stories to you guys further down the season, as it helps you to get to know me a bit better and simultaneously show you how I navigated those experiences of mine. But for now, I will be just telling you what I am currently facing right now and describe to you what is it like being an emotional punching bag from my perspective. Whenever I have disagreements with my parents, I tend to not show my emotion that much, simply because the things that my parents always tell me is for my own good, and I completely understand that. However, whenever the things that I go through my head, it is always that same frustrating feeling every time, that the feeling of anger is being placed on me, which, yes, is definitely my own doing, and I am completely aware of it. But I always have to make sure that I am calm and collected at all times whenever they are telling those things to me, and that I don't break down into tears. But let's be for real, I feel like crying my eyes out all the time whenever I go downstairs and my parents are not in the room with me, and I always feel defeated due to the fact that I caused another headache to my parents. Honestly, I totally get everyone's feeling that disagreements is definitely inevitable, and being able to talk it out with your parents is good. The thing is, and the sole reason why I am constantly in my parents' last nerves, is that I am stubborn, which is true, and obviously I cannot avoid that because as a kid, I've been stubborn for some points in my life during my developmental years. I understand my parents' perspective of like wanted me to be okay, and I don't think that much of like the things that are happening. They just want me to get things done properly, and that I don't like constantly do things at the last minute, which is something that I'm currently facing right now. However, I have this like thought in my head that my parents always tell me, you need to act like your age, which is true because I am 17 currently, and they just wanted me to like think about like your future and how are you gonna navigate things as you're approaching adulthood, which is true. However, my excuse always is that I don't want to grow up. I don't want to act like a 17-year-old. Simply because that they always keep telling me, enjoy mo yung pagkabata mo, or for lack of better words, have fun being a kid. However, I feel like I took that message the wrong way, and that I should not think about responsibilities, which I feel like that I kind of makes sense now why I tend to be stubborn. The thing that my parents wanted me to like figure out is that you can have fun as a kid. It's just that you have to also come with the terms that you have to like do things that you don't like to do, like thinking about responsibilities, like managing things on time, and most importantly, managing yourself, which, not gonna lie, is something that my parents always keep telling me about that I completely ignore, which honestly is another reason why I always feel like emotionally unstable, which I'm still currently working out, but I constantly think about all the time. Overall, I totally get my parents and all the things that they say or do for me, because they're the ones who understand me and the ones who could truly help me in certain situations that I'm in. I don't have a bad relationship with my parents, regardless whether I was a kid at the time or as a teenager right now. We just have times wherein we have disagreements with one another, and for me that is totally fine. And if you guys are in the same situation as me, that is also totally fine. As long as you and your parents are both working towards to make you both on the same page, that is more than okay for me. Overall, what I've learned during my time and in my headspace being an emotional punching bag, it was my own doing. My parents are not angry at me whenever they always tell me something. It is just because that they wanted for me to correct those certain things, just because they want what's best for me. And overall, the reason why I always get on my parents' nerves is just because that every choice that I made is always affect me in the ways that also ticks them off, which I totally understand. And also, so earlier I also said that it's much better to treat each other silently than scream our heads off, which is true. Just like what I said earlier, my parents, whenever they're angry or have disagreements with one another, they tend to separate themselves and treat each other silently, mostly because that it isn't healthy to scream at one another, and it's also not gonna help the situation at all. And it applies to me as well, which honestly I'm glad, because I grew up normally and I don't experience that sort of sadness wherein I feel like I have no one else to talk to. So what did I learn in this entire episode? Being able to like navigate your emotions whenever certain people have like a hint of anger towards you is important, no matter if those opinions clouded your judgment. And overall, I'm truly grateful for what my parents have done for me, because if it wasn't for their parenting, I wouldn't be the mature kid that I am today. And also, I remember there was a comment that was said to me when I was applying to college and I was interviewed. That adult said to me, for your age of 17, you think maturely for your age, which, not gonna lie, shocked me. And also, I am not surprised, because if it wasn't for my parents, I wouldn't be this kind of person that I am right now. And I am truly happy for that. So, moral of the story of the only childs are punching bags. What your parents are doing for you is for the best. not all the times you guys are gonna be on the same page, but at least what they're doing for you is that they're just gonna be saying to you the things that they observe. And obviously, as much as we deny it or not, they know us, whether we make excuses for ourselves. And also, word of advice for an only child, don't make excuses. There have been so many times wherein I tend to not admit certain things to my parents simply because that I claim they will not understand me, which, not gonna lie, at the start of the year, I made a resolution that I should not make excuses for myself, which obviously did not happen, that I'm still currently working on. So, yeah, that's what I've learned in being emotional punching bag. It's just that whenever I feel certain emotions, I tend to always suck it up. But I always end up failing on doing so, simply because that the sole reason of that happening is because of my own action. So, hope you guys learned something from this episode. And with that, that is the end for today. And I hope you guys like my story. And see you guys next time. And there's nothing wrong to daydream. See ya!